This review was prepared by Xavier Chauvin, Chen and Emma Slade and published by TheoryHub. TheoryHub covers a wide range of theories and act as a starting point for theory exploration in different research and teaching and learning contexts. This is a review of the theory of planned behavior. The theory of planned behavior is one of the most influential theories of human behavior. It posits that individual behavior is driven by intention, which is influenced by attitude, subjective norm, and perceived behavioral control. It has been applied across many research domains. The theory of planned behavior is an extension of the theory of reasoned action, which is considered one of the most fundamental conceptual frameworks explaining human behavior. According to TRA, an individual's behavior is determined by their intention to perform the targeted behavior, and this intention is a function of two determinants: their attitude toward the behavior and subjective norm. Attitude toward the behavior refers to an individual's positive or negative feelings about performing the target behavior, and subjective norm is defined as a person's perception what most people who are important to think should or should not perform the behavior in question. According to the theory, an individual is more inclined to perform a behavior when they have a positive feeling about it and consider that important others think they should do so. However, behaviors are not always easily performed, and individuals often have only incomplete volitional control over a behavior. That is to say, someone may not always have the resources, opportunities, and/or abilities to conduct a goal-directed behavior even though they evaluate it favorably and have positive social support. To address this limitation and to understand and predict human behavior better, TPB was developed by extending TRA with the construct of perceived behavioral control, which refers to people's perception of the ease or difficulty of performing the behavior of interest. Perceived behavioral control was proposed to be the third determinant of intention, and it was also suggested that it influenced behavior directly with intention in the earlier version of TPB. In the later version, perceived behavioral control was proposed to moderate the influence of intention on behavior to enhance the predictability of behavior. TPB traces the causal links from beliefs to actual human behavior, and it is implied that individuals make decisions based on rational considerations of available information. There are three kinds of considerations to guide behavior: behavioral beliefs, normative beliefs, and control beliefs. Behavioral beliefs are conceptualized as the likely consequences or other attributes of the behavior. They reflect an individual's subjective evaluation of the potential outcome occurring following their performance of the behavior of interest. For instance, an individual may hold the belief that going to the gym can help them be fit. Behavioral beliefs are determinants of attitude, which is a learned disposition and reflects an individual's evaluation of the desirability of a targeted behavior. From a deductive point of view, the more positive the attitude, the stronger an individual's intention will be to perform the behavior. Normative beliefs refer to the normative expectations of other people. They reflect the subjective evaluation of others' approval or disapproval of the behavior. The term other people concerns the individuals given referent individuals or group, which include people who are important to the individual and influence their behavior, e.g. their friends, family, peers, or supervisors. Normative beliefs lead to subjective norm. Subjective norm reflects an individual's perception of social pressure. It refers to whether the targeted behavior would be accepted by those important others for the individual to gain social approval or to avoid social rejection. Subjective norm typically positively influences behavioral intention. However, according to a meta-analysis conducted by Armitage and Connor, subjective norm was found to be the weakest predictor of intention in general. It has been suggested that attitudinal components appear to be more important than normative components in determining behavioral intentions. Personal considerations tended to overshadow the influence of perceived social pressure. Another explanation for subjective norm's relatively low predictive power, offered by Trofimov and Finley, is that only a minority of individuals conduct behaviors mainly based on perceived social pressure. Their behaviors may be influenced or guided by other types of norms, such as personal norm, which refers to people's feelings of personal obligations and commitments to conduct a specific behavior. Control beliefs denote the presence of factors that may further or hinder performance of the behavior. The factors can be internal and/or external. Internal factors could be information, skills, ability, emotions, and time. External factors could be opportunities, unanticipated events, and dependency on other people. Individuals' perception of the likelihood of those factors being present when performing the behavior produces perceived behavioral control. According to Chen, perceived behavioral control should be read as perceived control over the performance of a behavior, rather than the control over the outcome of the behavior. Perceived behavioral control plays a dual role in TPB, where it co-determines intention with attitude and subjective norm, and co-determines behavior with intention in the earlier versions of TPB. It has been reconceptualized to moderate the effect of intention in later versions of the theory. As the most distinctive difference between TPB and TRA, the more control that an individual perceives to have over a behavior, the stronger intention they may have and the more likely they are to perform the behavior. When TPB was initially proposed, Chen noted that the terms perceived behavioral control and self-efficacy could be used interchangeably. However, subsequent literature has suggested distinctions between these two terms or breakdowns of the control construct. For instance, Pavlou and Feigenson used two distinct dimensions, self-efficacy and controllability, to represent perceived behavioral control. Self-efficacy refers to individual judgments of a person's capabilities to perform a behavior, and controllability is defined as individual judgments about the availability of resources and opportunities to perform the behavior. These three types of beliefs are assumed to be readily accessible in memory and respectively result in attitude toward the behavior, subjective norm, and perception of behavioral control, which together predict behavioral intention. TPB addressed the limitations of TRA by incorporating control beliefs and the perceived behavioral control construct to account for situations where individuals may intend to act but lack the necessary control or resources to do so. This was important because it improves the ability to predict behavior in real-world situations where factors beyond motivation and intention influence whether people can actually perform a given behavior. The relative importance of attitude, subjective norm, and perceived behavioral control on intention has been noted to vary across behaviors and populations. In research conducted by Barbera and Chen, the significance and importance of these three determinants has been observed to vary across three different behaviors. For example, in the case of Barbera and Chen, when it comes to voting behavior, attitude was shown to be the most important predictor of intention, while subjective norm was surprisingly not significant. In contrast, attitude was not significant in reducing household waste behavior, while subjective norm was an important factor. Regarding different populations, it has been suggested that demographic variables and personality traits influence the formation and importance of the three predictors. For instance, Moon employed TPB to investigate people's intention to visit a green restaurant, and they considered the moderation role of age and gender. They found that males were more inclined to be influenced by their reference and the effect of perceived behavioral control was greater for older populations. Regarding personality traits, HSU et al. Investigated the moderation role of price sensitivity in influencing people's purchase intention of green skincare products. They found that the effects of attitude, subjective norm, and perceived behavioral control were stronger for people with higher price sensitivity. Intention is held to be the most influential determinant of behavior in TPB. It indicates an individual's readiness or how much effort they are willing to exert to perform the targeted behavior. A positive relationship is expected between intention and behavior. Having only 4 concepts to explain human behavior, TPB has been questioned regarding its trade-off between parsimony and validity. One criticism in this regard is that it is not taking sufficient account of cognitive and affective processes that are known to bias human judgments and behavior. For instance, TPB does not include unconscious, irrational, and emotional influences in the theory. Regarding intention, it has been argued that individuals' behavioral, normative, and control beliefs are easily influenced and changed by many intervening events, which can lead to changes in their attitudes, subjective norms, and perceived behavioral control. As a result, their intentions can eventually be affected. However, TPB cannot address this issue since it assumes the formation of intention and the performance of human behavior as a linear decision-making process. In addition, scholars have been doubtful about the notion that beliefs only lead to one of the three determinants rather than intention directly. With regard to actual behavior, the majority of variance is not explained by the concepts included in TPB in many studies, and the validity of TPB varies considerably when moderators, such as demographics, are applied. TPB also has the limitation that it can only predict one behavior at one time, while multiple human behaviors may occur simultaneously or sequentially under complicated situations. Another key criticism of TPB lies in its inability to fully address the intention-behavior gap, the phenomenon where strong behavioral intentions do not always translate into corresponding actions. While TPB emphasizes intentions as a central predictor of behavior, it underestimates the influence of situational and contextual factors which can hinder action despite favorable intentions. Additionally, the model assumes a linear and rational progression from intention to behavior, and it assumes that humans are rational decision-makers, like most theories that predict behavior. However, many behaviors are influenced by emotional, habitual, or impulsive factors, which TPB does not adequately account for. These limitations reduce the predictive power of TPB in real-world contexts, particularly for behaviors that require sustained effort or are influenced by dynamic external factors. Despite its limitations, it is still considered to be one of the most fundamental theories to predict and understand human behavior. Thank you for listening. To download the full review or to read other theory reviews, visit open.ncl.ac.uk.